Part 53. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 532. Just let them leave. The first black dragon looked at Daogu and said slowly. Otherwise, what do you want to do? Cause a war between the Yakuza, Daogu said calmly. It's just a world, it's nothing, no ultimate person can be born, unless they come to the other side of the world, Daogu said calmly. Have you forgotten that there is another place? The black dragon looked at Daogu. Abyss? It's not that simple. Even if they go to the abyss, they won't get any benefits, Daogu said indifferently. That world is left to them, Daogu said calmly. And everything that needs to be harvested in this piece of ancient history has been harvested, Daogu said slowly. Master, I don't miss you this much, the Empress said to Lin Chen. Really? Lin Chen touched himself and said with deep eyes. That's for sure, you don't want to be the one who suffers. The Empress looked at Lin Chen and said with a smile on her lips. There is no way, they are much better than me now, Lin Chen said with a smile. The Empress looked at Lin Chen and understood the meaning of Lin Chen's words. She didn't say anything. Suffer? When have I ever suffered a loss? Lin Chen looked at the other world with a hint of fierceness in his eyes. Wait for me, Lin Chen murmured, and then followed the long river of time directly back to the present world. Came back. Lin Chen looked at the present world. He breathed a sigh of relief. The crisis can be said to have passed. If he was born now, there is still a problem. That is, Lin Chen himself has a huge problem. After the battle with Daogu, Lin Chen's body collapsed broken, the origin is exhausted, and it needs to be transformed into a deep sleep. The extreme materials are enough. Now Lin Chen is just short of the passage of time and then transforming. Empress, Jiao, I will trouble you to protect this world from now on, Lin Chen said slowly. He fell into a deep sleep. He didn't go home. He still had his own plans. Really, the Empress looked at Lin Chen, a little helpless, but she still opened up a small world and sent Lin Chen into it. This time I fell into a deep sleep, and I didn't know when I would wake up, the Empress said slowly. What do we do next? Jiao looked at the Empress. The same goes for Yuzi and others. If Lin Chen is not around, the Empress has the absolute right to speak. Wait for him to wake up, and then settle, the Empress said slowly. Liquidation, the gangster looked at the Empress curiously. You don't think the master is such an easy talker? When have we ever suffered a loss? The Empress glanced at the gangster angrily. Although he has become a master, the gangster is still the same as before. He is too cowardly towards the Empress. It is the sequelae of his youth. Just wait for the master to wake up, it won't take long, the Empress said slowly. Time is passing slowly. Thousands of years, 10,000 years, millions of years. The main world begins to recover. New races have appeared in the main world. Evolved from the world. That guy, where did he go? And he hasn't come back yet, Lin Yuyu said slowly. I could feel that Lin Chen was not dead, but he never came back. Didn't Nian Cheng and the others say that? Their father must have matured and transformed in a certain world, and they were also affected by Tao Alair said slowly. Sure enough, time is a good medicine that heals everything. Millions of years have passed, and everything has been buried, and there is no way to pursue it. By the way, there is an additional Shura tribe in the universe. I heard that this race is very powerful, Quina said slowly. The aura of the ancestral gods filled her body. Over millions of years, Lin Yuyu and the others also entered the realm of the ancestral gods. How awesome are they? They are just a bunch of brats who have never seen the world, Alair said lightly, with a hint of disdain in his tone. A race with a history of millions of years is far from nothing to Alair. The history of the celestial clan is even longer. Now the merger has become the gods and demons. Their strength is far more powerful than what appears on the surface. Time is passing, the times are changing, and with every threat from the other side of the world, the main world is developing very quickly. But there is still one biggest problem, that is, there is no Yakuza material in the main world, and the strongest ones are the ancestral gods. Yanhuang belongs to the ranks of the Yakuza, but they do not belong to living creatures. So far, the only serious Yakuza are Jiao Jiao Empress and the others. Lin Chen has also returned in dormancy, he is constantly transforming. In the small world, Lin Chen's body is constantly shining with the light of his origin, constantly rising and falling. Is this the ultimate person? Lin Chen's consciousness encompasses the entire universe. The soul is surrounded by endless origins, and the Tao is rising and falling. Billions of Tao principles and billions of origins interweave unparalleled brilliant Tao fruits. Lin Chen can feel his own evolution. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 533. The origin is constantly concentrated on Lin Chen. Countless Dao patterns interweave terrifying visions. What is my way? Lin Chen murmured, talking to himself while sitting cross-legged in a white space. The space is infinite. Everything is a derivative of Lin Chen's own Taoism. It is like a white paper that can be splashed with ink at will. Lin Chen as if caught in the strange mood in his eyes. Invincible, Lin Chen thought slowly, an endless golden light emerged in the space, but he soon became disillusioned. This path is not suitable for me, or I was not meant to take this path in the first place. Lin Chen murmured. Rule, Lin Chen's eyes flashed with countless rays of light. The white space began to stretch and splash with ink. Rule everything, control everything, Lin Chen murmured. Golden light bloomed. Jiao Jiao, Empress, Bai Shui, Rogue, Yu Zi, Ling, Xiao Miao, Pakia, Vivian, the phantoms of 9 people appeared on Lin Chen in this white space. Is this my path? Lin Chen looked at the Empress behind him, and the phantoms of Jiao Jiao and others had smiles on their faces. The space expanded infinitely. The years fluctuated. The aura of immortality and eternity emerged from Lin Chen. In the small world, the Empress looked at Lin Chen. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Lin Chen's body gradually turned from illusion to solidity. His own imprint after returning from all directions was imprinted on all the heavens and worlds. As long as someone misses or recites Lin Chen's true name, Lin Chen could feel it. The main world. Endless avenue lines emerged. Intertwined with supreme light. Lin Chen's shadow appeared in the entire main world. Everyone had a clear understanding in their hearts. This world, in this ancient history, someone has become a master. Lin Chen's figure is imprinted in the void. Father, Lin Niancheng looked at Lin Chen's shadow. This is the mark of heaven and earth. This guy, Lin Yuyu and others also looked at Lin Chen with surprise. Done, the gangster looked at Lin Chen carelessly. Congratulations, master, the Empress said to Lin Chen. Lin Chen opened his eyes, billions of worlds sparkled and died, and the boundless Tao bloomed in Lin Chen's eyes. Supreme power. Lin Chen had a smile on his lips, thinking about the world being born, and thinking about the world being destroyed. This is the ultimate person. This is also Lin Chen's current strength. Master, it's not easy, the gangster said to Lin Chen with a smile. What's not easy? Isn't this just a matter of having hands? Lin Chen said with a smile on his lips. Jiao Jiao looked at Lin Chen speechlessly. Are you ready? Lin Chen looked at the Empress, Jiao Jiao and others. It has been prepared for a long time, the Empress said slowly. Bai Shui also nodded. When have we ever suffered a loss? Let's go and do it to them. The gangster took out his huge war blade and said with excitement on his face. If I can't say this, I can't calm down, Lin Chen said in a deep voice. The river of time appeared at the solace of Lin Chen's feet. Just when Lin Chen was about to step into the river of time, Lin Yuyu, Quina, Qiana, Avia, Wu Xiao, and others found the strength of Lin Chen. Chen. You guy, Why don't you go home and take a look, Quina said with resentment on her face. The Empress and others looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen shrugged and touched his nose. Wait for me, I'll be back soon, Lin Chen said with a smile on his lips. The long river of time flows at Lin Chen's feet. Really, do we have to leave? Lin Yuyu said with some resentment. It's all small things, wait until I come back, Lin Chen said slowly. The long river of time is fluctuating, constantly rippling. Don't worry, I'll come back this time. I will never leave you again, Lin Chen's voice came out from the long river of time. For Lin Chen, this is a must. They are all extremely existences, and they are all supreme existences. Who is afraid of whom? If they fight at the same level, Lin Chen, I have never been afraid, even in the realm of the extreme. And there is no extreme matter in the main world, which is what Lin Chen is unhappy about. Why, you are all extreme, and you use the other side of the world to have countless extreme materials, so what? Earth, the world where I, the ultimate person, does not even have the ultimate material. Who are you looking down on? This time, it is not just about venting bad breath, but also the idea of robbery. The ultimate material in the other world can be said to be infinite. What? You can't divide yourself. And if there is a real battle between the Yakuza, Lin Chen will not give up. There will be 9 Yakuza on his side plus 10 of himself. There may be more in the other world, but it is only that's it. Damn, it doesn't exist. After all, Daogu had left Lin Chen in the world of the extreme. Daogu didn't dare to do this. It really triggered a war between the extreme. Then the world on the other side will also be destroyed. How can Lin Chen be left without paying the price? There may even be the death of the ultimate. So Lin Chen went there this time, to put it bluntly, he was going to be a robber. This can be regarded as captured the psychology of Daogu and others. Lin Chen did not panic at all, as if he was traveling, and headed into the long river of time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 534. Lin Chen took the Empress and others directly to the other world. Quina, Lin Yuyu and others were waiting for Lin Chen to return. Time passes slowly. Millions of years have passed. Lin Yuyu and others did not leave. On the contrary, they were still waiting for Lin Chen to return. There were terrifying fluctuations in the long river of time. 2 supreme creatures, fighting in the long river of time. Lin Yuyu and others saw clearly the face of one of the supreme creatures. Lin Chen. Lin Chen was in the midst of a great battle, constantly fighting bloody battles with the enemy. From the end of the long river of time, all the way down, fighting into the future. Time is constantly fluctuating. Endless power blooms. No one can do anything to anyone. You are not invincible and can't do anything to me. Lin Chen's voice sounded, grand and majestic, with a strong fighting spirit. Kill, Lin Chen's opponents are not simple beings. They are the most powerful beings who can reach the realm of the ultimate. Beings who have reached the end of their road. They have reached the extreme. The other world cannot be destroyed, Lin Chen's opponent said lightly. You can't tell, things are changing. Who can tell me clearly when I come to my house this year? Lin Chen looked at his opponent, Daogu. The master of this ancient history. The innate divine who planted the seeds and harvested them. You are seeking death. Daogu's eyes are filled with disillusionment and endless reincarnation of the world. Looking down at the heavens from high above. I said, you can't kill me, Lin Chen said indifferently, with coldness in his eyes. I don't know when the battle between the two started. They fought in the long river of time in order to not affect the present world. Tens of millions of years later. Lin Chen started from the long river of time. When he returned from the hospital, he had the blood of the ultimate deist flowing in his body, including those of his enemies and his own. But Lin Chen had a smile on his face. A strange substance was instilled into the main world by Lin Chen. The Empress, Jiao Jiao and others, he has not come back and is still in the other world. The existence of the ultimate has too much influence on the present world. Then if you do nothing, the whole world will run according to the will of the ultimate. The present world cannot bear the existence of the ultimate at all. Lin Chen can't stay long. Staying for a long time is not a good thing for the world. The material Lin Chen instilled is also the ultimate material. But there is no big change. At most, it just leaves some seeds of hope for the world. Very good. Soon Lin Chen found Lin Yuyu and others. With a smile on his face. I'm here to pick you up, Lin Chen said with a smile on his face and looked at Lin Yuyu and others with a smile on his lips. Welcome back. Alair looked at Lin Chen with a smile on his face. Where are you going to take us? Lin Yuyu asked Lin Chen. Go to a good place, somewhere more spacious. Lin Chen said slowly. The other world, Quina looked at Lin Chen and asked. Lin Chen nodded. What about your children? Wu Xiao asked Lin Chen. They? We can just wait for them wherever they are. When they come by themselves, I have left the seeds of hope in this world, Lin Chen said slowly, with a slight smile on his lips. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. Wu Xiao looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen nodded. He put Wu Xiao and others into his own world. Wu Zhao and Mu Sueking appeared behind Lin Chen. Master Lin Chen looked at Mu Sueking with a smile on his face. There has been a slight change in this world, and it was you who did it, Mu Sueking said with a somewhat complicated look. Lin Chen was still a little kid back then. But now he has stepped in front of him and is someone he has to look up to. Lin Chen smiled and nodded. Are you ready to leave this world? Wu Zhao looked at Lin Chen and said with a hint of color in his eyes. Pretty much, this world is too weak. If you want to come back, you still need the world to adapt and evolve. Lin Chen said slowly. Heading to the other side of the world, Wu Zhao said with a hint of color in his eyes. Yes, Lin Chen nodded. What is that world like? Mu Sueking looked at Lin Chen and asked. Boundless, vast, much bigger than this world, where there are many races, there are the most powerful people sitting in the sky, and there are beings who have gone further on this road. Lin Chen said slowly. Is that so? Mu Sueking looked at Lin Chen and nodded. It should be a good place to build Yanhuang. Mu Sueking suddenly said something. Lin Chen was stunned for a moment, then looked at Mu Sueking with a smile on his face. That is, of course, the dragon flags of Yanhuang will be planted all over the heavens and all the worlds, and there will be no exceptions. Lin Chen said with a smile. Wait for me, Wu Zhao said slowly, then left and traveled far away. Wu Zhao was ready to go his own way. After feeling that he could enter the ranks of the strongest. Before going to the other side of the world to transform. I'll wait for you somewhere, so hurry up, otherwise it will be so boring, Lin Chen said slowly, and the figure gradually disappeared. Mu Sueking looked at the starry sky and the distance. The other world. Billions of years have passed. Lin Chen took his own child with him, his youngest daughter, who was also Lin Chen's third child. After hundreds of millions of years, Lin Chen had his third heir. Compared to the previous two sons, Lin Chen likes his daughter even more. Dad, what is that over there? Lin Yushi's somewhat charming voice sounded. Lin Chen looked at his little daughter. She is still 2 or 3 years old, but she has actually been born for hundreds of thousands of years. It's just because Lin Chen is the most powerful person. Lin Yushu himself also experienced some incredible changes, and his bloodline evolved into an immortal species similar to dragons. It is worth mentioning that this daughter is the child of Lin Chen and Wu Zhao. Wu Zhao also embarked on the journey to become the most powerful, the path of the leader. The dragon flag of Yanhuang was also planted in the other world and became one of the strongest forces. There are not many strong ones, but for a force, there are definitely many. Over there should be an abyss over there. Lin Chen looked at the space in front of him, connected to the abyss. So, Dad, what are you doing? Lin Yushu asked Lin Chen curiously. Fishing, Lin Chen said with a smile. With a swing of the fishing rod in his hand, an abyss dragon was directly picked up by Lin Chen, crossed the world and was crushed to death by Lin Chen. Lin Yushu also saw all this. There was no fear, only curiosity. This bastard is calling my daughter some random things again, Lin Yu said with some helplessness. After an abyss demon dragon in the realm of ancestral gods was pinched to death by Lin Chen, the essence, blood, and origin were refined by Lin Chen and made into candy shapes. Daughter, try it and see if it tastes good, Lin Chen said with doting on his face. He handed the candy to Lin Yushu. Lin Yushu got the candy out of curiosity and ate it. It tasted sour and sweet. His eyes turned into crescent shapes, very cute. Tasty, Lin Yushu nodded. It's delicious. Then Daddy will make more for you, Lin Chen said with a smile. Abyss, the king of the 7 deadly sins, looked ugly. Lin Chen, don't go too far. The king of desire roars, the abyss trembles. So what if I go too far? You bite me, Lin Chen said with a bad smile on his face. The 7 original sins king was a little angry. This guy has no demeanor of the strongest, and he specializes in attacking the ancestors of the abyss. But after leaving the abyss, the 7 kings can only be done by Lin Chen candies. Lin Chen raised his eyebrows and felt the fluctuations in time and space. Someone had taken action against his past. Who is it? Lin Chen thought for a while, and a trace of spiritual thought entered the long river of time and space. He followed the long river of time to the upper reaches. He found the person who had attacked him. So that's it, I almost forgot. Lin Chen looked at himself when he was still weak and fought with Alair for the first time in the secret realm. Time flies so fast. Lin Chen has a smile on his face. The whole book is finished.